Because politicians seek to buy votes by spending public funds on things voters like. Why are some observers concerned that democracy poses a danger to budgeting? Revenues. A budget deficit occurs when expenditures exceed blank. Budget. A policy document allocating burdens and benefits is known as a blank. 9%. Approximately what percentage of the annual federal budget pays interest on the national debt? Personal income taxes, corporate income taxes, social insurance taxes, excise taxes, borrowing. Major sources of federal revenues include imported goods. In the early years of the nation, the federal government raised most of its revenue through fees collected on blank. Civil War. The first income tax in America was intended to pay for the blank. Unconstitutional. The result of the Supreme Court's ruling in Pollock v. Farmers Loan and Trust Company, 16th Amendment. Congress was officially given the power to levy an income tax through the 16th Amendment. Progressive. A tax system where those with more taxable income not only pay more taxes but also higher rates of taxes is known as blank. More income, less income. The income tax is generally progressive, meaning those with blank pay more taxes than those with blank. Income taxes. What taxes provide the largest source of federal revenue? Internal Revenue Service. The blank was created in order to collect the federal income tax. Selling bonds. The government borrows money principally by blank. Outstanding. The federal debt consists of all the money borrowed over the years by the national government that is still blank. Day-to-day expenses. The federal government borrows money primarily for its blank. Foreign. A majority of the national debt is held by blank. Tax expenditures. Revenue losses attributable to provisions of the federal tax laws which allow a special exemption or deduction are known as blank. Mortgage interest. An example of a tax expenditure is a tax deduction for the mortgage interest paid by homeowners. Middle, upper. Tax expenditures tend to most benefit blank and blank income people and corporations. Defense officials, corporations. The military-industrial complex refers to the close relationship between blank and the blank that supply their hardware needs. Procurement. The purchasing of military hardware is known as blank. Income security. Currently, the most expensive part of the federal budget is spending on blank. Franklin D. Roosevelt. As a federal program, Social Security began under blank. Medicare. In 1965, blank was added to the Social Security program to provide healthcare coverage to the elderly. 50. How many workers supported the Social Security benefits for one retiree in 1945? 3. How many workers currently support the Social Security benefits for one retiree? Social Security. What is the largest social policy of the federal government? Budget. Incrementalism is the best predictor of next year's increases. A major feature of incremental budgeting is that it provides small blank in the current budget over the previous year's budget. Agency. Giving in blank a little more than it had last year is an example of incremental budgeting. Congress. The ultimate power to determine how much the government will tax and spend and what it will spend taxes for lies with blank. Entitlements. Policies for which Congress has obligated itself to pay a certain level of benefits based on a certain number of recipients are known as blank. Office of Management and Budget. The levels of executive agencies send their budget requests to the blank. President. The Office of Management and Budget parcels out money to government agencies and is accountable to the President. Congress. Once the Office of Management and Budget has prepared the federal budget, the President makes revisions and submits it to blank. Ways and Means. In the House of Representatives, it is a blank committee that writes tax codes subject to the approval of Congress as a whole. The Congressional Budget Office. What government agency has been established to assist Congress in making budgeting decisions? Appropriations. Spending bills in Congress originate in the blank committees and their subcommittees. Accountability Office. The task of the government blank is to audit, monitor, and evaluate what agencies are doing with their budgets. Purse. Congress' control over federal appropriations is more commonly known as the power of the blank. Reconciliation. Budget blank revises program authorizations to achieve required savings. Authorization bill. A blank establishes, continues, or changes a discretionary government program or an entitlement, appropriations bill. To actually fund a program, Congress must pass and blank. Continuing resolutions. Failing to meet its own timetable, Congress frequently resorts to blank, which are laws that allow agencies to spend at the previous year's level. 1980s. Most of today's federal debt was run up by government borrowing during the employers and employees. Blank pay Social Security taxes. Revenue. Social Security taxes are the fastest growing source of federal blank.